stand and ask Ms. Hazel to lead us in the prayer and the pledge of allegiance.
Our Heavenly Father, we ask you for your blessing upon this meeting tonight. Lord, bless our minds and our hearts that we may be able to do the business of Lincoln Parish. Bless the citizens of Lincoln Parish. In your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you see the agenda. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Public comment on any agenda items. Does anyone like to make any public comments on any items on the agenda? If not, we'll move to the next item, minutes of the March the 9th meeting. Each of you have been furnished a copy of the minutes of March 9th meeting. Do you have any corrections or additions? Or do I hear a motion that we approve?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the March 9th meeting.
I second the motion.
Motion second to approve the March 9th meeting as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Committee reports. Public Works Committee.
The Public Works Committee met at 6 o'clock this evening. Bear with me one second. And new business was to adopt an ordinance for amending speed limits in section 6-4.13 on Lincoln Parish Code, ordinance of a 25-mile-an-hour limit on Baxter Road. We also recommended entering into a rental agreement for a front-end loader with savings of close to $1,000 per unit per month. And that agreement is with River City Hydraulics. So recommended authorizing resolution for a traffic study at Tarbutton and Highway 150. We reviewed the preliminary plats for Robertson Property, Stone Ridge Subdivision, and the reserve at Moore's Dairy. We also approved the assistance request for the town of Dubach, Grambling, and Simsboro. And that was it. I'd like to submit this recommendation in form of motion.
Got a motion.
Second.
It's a second that we accept the minutes of the Public Works Committee and approve their recommendations. Any discussion? Any questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Personnel Committee.
Mr. President, personnel met at 6:30 this evening. The following recommendation for the full jury support, recommend the appointment of Mr. Robert Flowers II for a 3-year term on the Northeast Delta Fuel Resource Authority. That was the first recommendation. One recommendation was tabled. The other recommendation to the full jury was to adopt a cell phone and tablet use policy. We all agreed on that one. The other one was recommendation to the full jury to adopt purchasing policy. We all agreed on that one. And the last one, the recommendation to adopt vehicle use policy, and we all agreed on that, and we submitted to the full jury for their approval. I make that in the form of a motion.
A motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second that we accept the recommendation of Personnel Committee and authorize approval of the recommendations.
Question.
Yes.
Would you please expound on the one appointment that was tabled and explain, please?
It be a you. Me. Now, number 2, the one that was table for the library appointment, for Mr. J. Lagon, and Mr. Edward Richmond. The library board want to interview them. And that's why they wanted to table.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just expound a little bit more. Mr. Lagon, late this afternoon.
Mr. Lagon was the library board's recommendation, if you recall, and then he withdrew his name because of a conflict, because he's serving as the president of the Friends of Library. And so we want to give the library board an opportunity to interview and make another recommendation.
Any other discussion, any other questions? That answer your question?
It did, but was the other candidate notified in advance that he would be interviewed hopefully later?
I don't know if the library board notified him or not. I can't tell that. This was something that happened very late this afternoon.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public hearing to consider the adoption of a resolution ordering and calling for the election to authorize the renewal of ad valorem tax for the library. And as you recall, last month the jury made a formal announcement of its intent to call a special election Saturday, October the 9th, 2021, for the millage proposition. And that proposition would read as follows: shall the Parish of Lincoln, State of Louisiana, be authorized to levy and collect a special tax of 4 49/100 mills on all properties subject to taxation in Lincoln Parish, an estimated $2,158,000 reasonably expected at this time to be collected for the levy of the tax for an entire year for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2021 and ending in the year 2030, for the purpose of providing funds for equipment, supplies, maintenance, operation, construction, and support of the public library and its branches in the parish. Need a motion to open the public hearing?
I'd like to make that motion.
I second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we need a roll call vote on that? To the vote meeting? The attorney's not here.
No, she says no.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'll open the public hearing. Is there any comments from the public regarding this proposition? Mr. Smith, can you come up to the mic, please?
Thank you. If the jury calls this election for the millage for the library, could you also go on record as supporting the millage, the jury? I'm asking, with calling the millage, that's, I guess, part of your job is to call the taxes.
Yeah, the jury has to come.
But would the jury go on record as supporting the millage?
Yes.
I think that'd be a smart move.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? If not, do I hear a motion we close the public hearing back in the regular session?
So moved.
Mr. Russell. Second. Ms. Mayfield. Ms. Strong. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? With that, I'm going to go on, so while we're doing this proposition for the library, I'm going to go on down to item 9, and then we'll come back to item 5. Okay. Item 9, to consider and take action with respect to adoption, The resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in Parish of Lincoln, State of Louisiana, to authorize the continuation of a special tax therein, making application to the State Bond Commission and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Do I have a motion that we adopt that?
Mr. President, I make the motion that we adopt that.
President, I second that motion.
Second. By Ms. Mayfield. Any discussion?
Mr. Good,
Yes.
in your motion, you said a continuation?
Well, this is a
Continuation.
continuation of the current tax. It's not a new tax.
Oh, okay. Right, I understand.
Renewal or continuation, and I think the terminology from the body attorney is to use the term continuation instead of renewal.
So, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Russell.
I'd like to suggest an amendment to that motion that refers to the library tax, which this statement does not.
I think it's in the, it's in section 1 of the actual resolution.
Yeah, it's in the body of the
All
resolution.
right, it's in there already?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
I didn't read that.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Bill, I thought you just commented.
I did, but I have another one on that. What is this money now being used for, or gonna be used for?
As I read before, it will be used for equipment, supplies, maintenance, operation, construction, and support of the public
Same.
library.
Same money.
This is all a part of the library?
Yes.
Same
Okay,
money.
that's what I didn't understand. Thank you.
Same money.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I understand we need to have a roll call.
Wyatt,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Durrett,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Hunt,
yes,
Scriber,
Yes.
Pullen,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Melton,
Yes.
Mayfield,
Yes.
Strutter,
Yes.
all yes.
Unanimous. Okay, while we're on the library, I'm gonna deviate from the agenda just a little bit, and I want to introduce Marcy Nelson. Marcy is here, right? Stand up. This is our interim library director. For those of you that have not met her, I'd like to welcome her. She's only been here, what, a couple of weeks now?
This is week 2 and 1 day.
Oh, okay, 2 in 1 day.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to let you know. And then also, if I could have those that are on the library board that are here tonight, if you want to stand up, there are a number of them here that, well, I think it's all the board is here, so in support of the library. So we're glad to
Thank
have
you for
y'all.
being here.
Okay, Marcia, you didn't want to say anything else, did you?
I down with it.
Oh, all right.
Well, you're gonna give me a mic, Mr. Gray.
Well, I'm not going to give you very long, because we're not on the agenda tonight.
I won't take long. I want to invite the jury members that haven't gotten to sit down with me and talk yet to please reach out to me before you leave tonight. I'd like to touch base with you to get to know you, and I want you to get to know me. I have a history here in Lincoln Parish. I mentioned at a couple meetings ago that this was home before I knew it was home. So I'm just happy for the opportunity to come back to this community and to serve, and I'm looking forward to any opportunities I have to work with each of you.
Thank you, we're glad to have you. Okay, move to item 5, LCDBG hearing to obtain views on the housing and community development needs of Lincoln Parish and to discuss the submission of an application for funding under the State of Louisiana fiscal year 2022-2023 Community Development Block Grant Program. I need a motion to go into public recess and be going to public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Which follows, who's second?
Second.
Okay,
Who was the second, Mr. Chairman? Sorry.
Mr. Henderson.
I did.
okay.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we're going to the public hearing, and I'll recognize Thomas McGee, Thomas McGee, with Thrive Again.
Thank y'all for having me. The public notice that was posted on the parish's website and Facebook page identified 4 items that we're going to go over. The first is the availability of funds for community development and housing needs. There is several categories you can apply for. Sewer treatment, new sewer collection, existing sewer rehabilitation, potable water, and streets. The second item is range of activities. Those are pretty self-explanatory in the categories, but if y'all have any questions about what those can be used for, I can definitely answer those for you.
What could they be used for?
Sewer treatment, so any activities at your sewer treatment plant. New sewer collection, that's extending sewer to areas that currently aren't sewered. Existing sewer rehabilitation, that's rehabbing lines, lift stations, manholes, any existing sewer facilities that the parish has. Potable water, which can be water wells, booster pump stations, elevated water tanks, water lines, service connections, basically anything dealing with a water system. And then streets, which is reconstructing or rehabilitating streets.
That could be all in that one grant?
You have to pick one,
Okay.
and you can only apply for one.
And this is due by what, June 30th of 2022?
It's actually due June 30th of 2021. And the way they do it, you submit a project severity package. Basically, you submit what your project is, the need, how you're going to fix it, and then they rank those. Every community in the state that applies gets on a list, and that's from 0 to 50 points. It's on a 50-point scale. And then they invite the top 75% of the projects statewide to submit a full application.
But we get extra point that we agree to pay the engineer and the grant people, right?
That's correct. They actually made a change this year in the program where they're not paying for administration. So anybody who applies has to pay for administration or do it themselves if they're capable of doing that. So the only points that you can actually buy now are the engineering fees.
How many points is that?
That's 2 points on a 73-point scale.
Okay.
And sometimes those projects are funded by hundreds of a point. So it's pretty critical to pay for those.
And we'll know that, will we know that cost at the time we put it out there, how much it will be?
Yes, sir. We'll need to develop the project a little bit because the engineering fees are based on the amount of construction. It's usually a percentage of construction. So we'll need to develop the project a little further to actually know what those engineering fees are. The administration fees are also based off of the cost of construction, but those are capped at $45,000. That's the max on administration.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The next item on the notice was plans for the police jury to minimize displacing people, and nothing that we're going to apply for will displace people. When you get in the business of moving people out of their homes, that's not good, and I don't think that you want to go down that road. So, the last item is the police jury's past performance. Y'all are in good standing with the state. You're not sanctioned, and you're eligible to apply. And those are the items that were published. Any questions thus far?
Can I make a statement?
Yes, yeah.
This is same firm that got us the original sewage projects. The sewage grant was obtained by them 20 years ago.
I
So
think it's longer than 20 years.
it might be longer than that.
Yeah, I
Well,
think I was a baby.
More like 25, you were real small.
This was his dad that
That was
was,
his dad,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, we even went down to Baton Rouge with some peaches in baskets.
Yeah.
But we got that grant, so thank you. I just want to make that clear.
In looking at the potential projects in the parish, y'all's sewer system, rehabbing some of those lines and lift stations looks like a pretty big need. There's a stipulation for applying for roads. You have to get DEQ and the Department of Health to certify that your sewer system and every water system in the parish is compliant. And typically that's pretty difficult for a parish to get, just because there's so many systems throughout the parish. One of them's bound to have an issue. So that's it.
any questions? Anybody have any questions or comments? From the public also, right? If,
Will,
Mr. Jones.
will we notify the 20 water systems in our parish that they have that opportunity to apply?
Typically you don't.
You don't, okay.
Mainly because you can only apply for one.
Yeah.
And y'all own your sewer system, and there's a pretty big need there.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Anybody?
Mr. President,
Yes.
when do we specify which one we want to apply for? At what point do we do that?
Thomas?
We can do that right now.
When we get back into regular session?
Yes, sir. Or we can address it at y'all's next meeting. I don't think there's an agenda item on there for that. So we can
It's
address
on the
it.
agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, thank
Be
you.
my recommendation.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If not, do I hear a motion that we close the public hearing, back in the regular session?
So,
Second. Mr. Rogers, second. Mr. Mills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is discuss and take action regarding the state centralized sales tax collection, House Bill 199. And I'm going to turn that up over to Joe to explain.
So there has been a lot of discussion around the state centralized sales tax collection bill. I've sent you some information that hopefully you've had a chance to look at some of it. I spent this morning watching the Senate Ways and Means Committee meeting. It was about 3 hours this morning and a lengthy discussion, and maybe some of you had a chance to tune in for a portion of that as well. The Police Jury Association has chosen not to take a position on this issue. I certainly don't speak for them, but I can tell you that the executive director of the association was a witness at the committee meeting this morning, and his, if I could summarize what I think he was trying to say, was basically he feels like that the authors of this bill are headed in the right direction, but there's still a lot of work to be done. What I heard being said is that this bill simply sets up the structure, establishes this centralized commission, but there will also be a companion bill, a statutory bill that will be coming along that will explain a lot of the details that go along with it. But we haven't seen that bill. We don't know what's going to be in that bill. And I think those details are going to be very important as to whether or not it's going to be something that you choose to get behind or not. So that being said, I asked him if we had time before if we could wait until the May meeting to address this resolution. He said no, it will come on the House floor before the May meeting. So if you choose to pass a resolution in opposition to this, you're going to need to do it tonight. I have made you did table this resolution last meeting, My recommendation is if you choose to pull it off the table, that we make some revisions to it based on the fact that we do have an actual bill number now. And I'll make some recommendations from some additional language to put in this resolution. But that's up to you.
So I have a motion that we remove this from the table and consider it.
Mr. Chairman, I make that motion to remove from the table and you consider.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Russell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay, now,
May we
comments
discuss
regarding.
that?
Beg your pardon?
May we discuss this?
Yes, we'll fix it.
Okay.
We'll fix it. Yeah. Now, for discussion of the proposed legislation. Mr. Russell.
Mr. Robert and I both serve on the Ruston Lincoln Sales and Use Tax Collection Commission, and I've been there 13 years. Of all the 64 states, we probably do a better job collecting tax than anyone else. Denise Griggs is our administrator, and we've had other administrators who equally have done just a terrific job. We do an outstanding job. If we take this at face value and allow the state to do all our collecting, we don't see that money for a long, long time. And I promise you, there's going to be, it costs us 0.5% to collect what we collect. Our expenses are 0.5%. If we allow the state to collect, they're talking about 5%. I just cannot see where it's going to benefit Lincoln Parish for them to be our tax collector. And I'm through.
Any other comments? Mr. Caldwell?
Teresa.
I would think that the more hands this tax or these taxes pass through, the less we will get. So saying that, that would indicate that I oppose this, but what I am more concerned about, and this may not be the place to discuss it, but I'm highly disappointed with the Louisiana Police Association in taking a stand not to get involved when we pay dues for them to lobby for us. And to my knowledge, nobody from that association got in touch with us and asked us what we were thinking.
True.
And if they did, I was not included. I think we need to,
No, I don't think we have not been contacted with the Police Association. We may
I don't think that's
try to
right.
contact them today
That's right.
and talk to, and then we weren't able to get a coordinated call with him because he was at the, on the floor. But,
Mr. President,
Mr. Bullen?
I don't think the association's involvement to contact us, but I do believe that the association has been involved in discussions on this bill. Like, the state just didn't go out on their own. This is part of the commission to come up with this bill that the association has been a part of that. And that was based on what I heard Cormier say today. Is that correct? I mean, am I making that assumption?
Yeah, I think there has been a committee that studied this. I got this from Denise, and she couldn't be here tonight, so I'm gonna try to relay this. But there has been a committee that studied this for the last year, I think, and they have come up with some consensus of opinion on how to approach this. But the problem is the bill that was introduced, House Bill 199, didn't address all that and doesn't address all that. And bill was introduced and went to committee today, the second day of the session, as it reads today. And I'm gonna just hit a couple of high points that the bill says. Now, they say there's a companion bill coming, they say there's other regulations coming, but all that's been introduced and all that was favorably reported out of the committee to the full House is House Bill 199. And it creates this commission that takes the place of the Remote Sellers Commission and the Uniform Sales Tax Commission that collects taxes in Louisiana now into one entity. And that entity is made up of 8 members. One from the Police Sheriff Association, one from the LMA, Municipal Association, one from the school board, one from the sheriffs, one being the Secretary of the Department of Revenue, one appointed by the governor, and one appointed by the Speaker of the House, and one appointed by the Speaker of the Senate. So it's 4 in Baton Rouge and 4 of the organizations of the different entities that collect. And anything that's proposed or done is governed by that committee, by 2/3 vote of that committee. Now, their argument on that is, that's fine. You got input when the regulations are made and when the things are done. Well, we have input with 1 member out of 8, and we're 1 parish out of 64. So Lincoln Parish input is not that much. But I want to just hit a couple of things that in this bill. It says that this commission will serve as the audit entity for all taxpayers not having a presence in Lincoln Parish. And it'll develop streamlined audit process for taxpayers with the physical presence in Louisiana. So we will lose control of the audits, inside or out. That's the way I read that. I'm not a lawyer. And it'll be funded with state and local sales tax revenues collected and deemed to be reasonable and necessary costs of the administration. So it's wide open on what they can charge.
That's right.
Whatever. And those are just the highlights. That's not all that's in the bill, but those are just some of the concerns that I had when we went through it. But with that, we're considering a resolution based on what's been introduced, not what might be. And we can always, if something else goes in it, it's powerful, we can reconsider. But they're moving this fast, like I said. Maybe it's going to be too late. So all we have to look at today is this bill, House Bill 199, to whether we support or not support. Mr. Russell.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, would you entertain a motion that we oppose House Bill 199?
Yes, I would.
Okay. I make that motion.
Second. All right. In discussion, I'm going to let Skip. You were sent a resolution, but we had to revise a couple of parts of it because we didn't have the House bill number, and I'll let you just kind of.
So if it's your desire to pass this resolution, here are my recommendations for revisions to what you currently have in your packet. In the second paragraph, I think the second paragraph should read as this. Whereas House Bill 199, to create the state and local streamlined sales and use tax commission, introduced in the 2021 regular legislative session that would transfer collection responsibility of local sales and use tax levies to the state. And then skipping down to the 6th paragraph, whereas the central local collector in each parish is directly responsible to the local taxing authorities and their elected officials for the performance of local tax administrations. Uncertainty exists as to who in the state and local streamlined sales and use tax commission will be accountable to the local taxing authorities for the performance of such critical local tax administration. That's it.
Okay, let me make one other comment. We're also, the way this is written, and if they take this, we'll lose our office here, which is employees here that we have, plus those employees do interact with the merchants when they got a question or they need guidance in going through the process of collecting their taxes. And they are, the legislature, I think when Mr. Turner was here last meeting and talked about our representative, you mentioned comparing us with Mississippi. I need to clarify one thing about Louisiana and Mississippi. Mississippi has a statewide uniform sales tax. We have sales tax that are developed and collected and voted on by the people for the different entities, whether it be Salisbury, Grambling, Dubach, Qriket, school board, police jury, solid waste, all these different, they don't have that. That's not, we're not like Mississippi. Ours is not structured like that. Now, if we're trying to get to Mississippi, a lot of things have to happen. But when they compare it to Mississippi, it's not comparing apples with apples. In my opinion. And, yes, sir, Mr. Henderson.
I saw Mr. Scribe, I let them go forward. I thought I saw their hand first.
The comment or question that I had on this issue here, I mean, I know that they're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. They got to be patterned after other states that have had a lot of success doing this. We're one of the few that do it the way we do it, aren't we?
Yes, correct.
I mean, so, I think that there's possibly a better way, to do it. And I'm not saying that I'm in favor of it, but I think they're headed in the right direction. What I'm reading about this now, what we're talking about tonight, it probably needs to be some changes in it and supporting exactly what they're saying, and that may be the issue here tonight.
Yeah, that's all we consider.
And that's all we can consider tonight, but, and the 5% deal that it's gonna cost us to do this, I can't even imagine that.
Mr. Chairman, not only is there a 5%, when
I mean,
someone in the
that's
parish
astronomical.
doesn't pay, who's gonna collect? Somebody in Baton Rouge gonna write them a letter? We don't have a person here who does the collecting. The person that does the collecting in Baton Rouge. So if someone chooses not to pay, who's going to enforce it?
They've got to look at this,
They do make a very good point that companies that do not have a presence in Louisiana, Amazon, whoever that is, they will do a better job collecting from the big national companies than we do. They will. But everybody else will not. It just won't be nearly about as effective and as good as the way we system.
Well, the testimony we heard on a short video that Logan sent out, some businesses, they claim it's a total nightmare in trying to keep up. They do businesses in different states.
Yep.
I mean, different parishes here within the state. And every one of them.
Every parish is different.
That's right. Our sales tax is different from Mississippi. That's what I said, you gotta change the whole system, in order to get to where Mississippi is, but they still, even if the state collects it, they still gotta figure you still gotta know how much to remit to each entity.
Because you might have, correct me if I'm wrong, but just here in the parish, we may have 10 different sales tax districts, if you will.
Right.
Throughout the parish. So you don't have 64 sales tax districts, you have thousands of sales tax districts within the state.
Right.
And so,
The other point that you need to consider is when this money goes to those folks in Baton Rouge, how quickly are we then going to get it remitted to us?
Okay, any other questions or comments? Mr. Pullen?
Let me ask you this, from a police jury standpoint, what does opposing this tax do? What does this resolution do?
It basically asks our representatives to oppose as it is, House Bill is written. Yeah, it specifically says House Bill 199. That's all we have to look at.
Technically, we can oppose it all day long. Our representative has 8 other parishes. And I'm just making that clear to everybody that we can vote against it, we can vote for it. If the surrounding parishes vote the other direction, then ours is, and I just want to make it clear.
Yeah, we're talking about Lincoln Parish, and that's already, that's already.
I just want to make that clear, that this has no legal saying, okay, we're not going to do that,
No.
in case people are wondering that.
Mr. Hunt.
I would even clarify that the only way that this happens is that it goes as a constitutional amendment, it goes to the ballot in every parish in the state, is that correct?
It'll have to go with the constitutional amendment, yes.
Yes, as amended,
It'll
everyone's
have to pass by first it has to pass the legislature by 2/3, and then it's got to pass the
majority.
which I thought it was 2/3.
Oh, I'll just say majority of the people,
Okay.
right, of the state.
And I'm back on the association because we have not seen how they have outreach to other parishes. We don't know what other parishes are planning to do. So we don't know if we're in line with passing or failing. But there's nothing wrong with standing up for what you believe. If this is what we believe, this is what we believe. One way or another, either for it or against it.
May I speak?
Yes, sir.
Do we fully know Mr. Turner has spoken as to the pros as far as the online tax sales collections. Has anybody found out anything else as far as what that might look like as far as additional tax revenue that would be brought to our parish by something such as the centralized collection?
No, the only thing I've heard what he said about Mississippi. And Mississippi's tax structure was different from ours. But Denise did, when she was here the last meeting, did say she was collecting more online than she had before under the current in Lincoln Parish. Now, I don't know about the whole state.
Well, Mr. Chair, I wasn't going to say anything. I know we're going to try to wrap this up, but I was just going to say, me and my family collect and pay in a lot of sales tax in the parish. And it's so easy when there's a problem, call Ms. Denise and get it straightened out. And we have to call that disaster in Baton Rouge over a problem. I can only imagine what that's going to be like.
That's right.
You would have to wait to get in line to talk to someone.
Yeah, you may never get a call back. So I can only imagine what it would turn out for us trying to pay if there's any kind of an issue.
Mr.
Yes.
We filed a sales tax report for several companies, but we got a problem with college leases. It's how to straighten out, even getting people started. If we get down to Baton Rouge and our people here with a 251 or 255 number, you ain't gonna get nobody in that 225 area. That's just me, when we walk down there, talk to them, just call them, they say, hey, Joe, how you doing, what can I do? And that's our problem.
Yeah, when you start talking about the other 64 parishes, I think we have the best tax collection
In the
in the state. I think a lot of them will tell you that too. Our office is run very efficiently, and she also collects for Union Parish too. So our state representative represents the two parishes that work together.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I am not opposed to central tax collection for those large companies that have no operating presence in the state of Louisiana. I simply am opposed to House Bill 199 because it does not make our points clear, and we have so many questions. I'd like it to be clarified before we approve it.
Clarify, the resolution to be clarified?
I'd like 199 not to pass, and let's rewrite that and make it a lot more clear than this is. This is ambiguous.
But you put a resolution to oppose.
199.
Yeah, the resolution is to oppose 199 as it's presented at this time. That's all we can consider. That's all that's in it. Yeah, Bill? You got but a half a second.
If this bill were to pass, then what would happen to Denise, and I don't know how many other folks work with her,
Out of a job.
That's the point I said a while ago, we'll lose those jobs if it passes as it is right now. Now, they say that's not the way it's going to end up, but I don't know.
So, do we know for a fact that that's the way it's going to be?
No,
I'm just,
no.
That they're, and I'm just asking that question, do we know for a fact that she's going to lose her job if this goes through?
the way I read it, have you read it? I mean, it says they'll take it over and operate. I don't know how you read it any other way.
That's my concern is that.
They say that there's going to be a companion bill, but I don't know why they had to have this hearing today to report it favorably to the floor of the House that quickly, why they didn't have it companion mill with it.
Previous
And
question.
then why are they're telling him that we need to do something? If we're gonna pose it now, because it'll be done deal before the next meeting. I'm just saying, the only thing we consider is what we're looking at.
So, Mr. President, could we, and I'll try to study a little bit more, but could we just put some extra emphasis, if it's the desire of the body, just to say House Bill 199 as currently written? Or in its current form
Sure.
today?
Friendly amendment, accepted.
So,
As of April 13th.
motion,
Make the motion, then.
we'll do it.
Make the motion.
I'll accept that as a friendly amendment if the second would.
Who's the second? Who was second now? Ms. Mayfield?
Yep.
You're okay with that? Well, no, yeah, you not second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so, the motion as made and seconded, I don't think we got to vote on one because we didn't vote the first time.
We haven't voted.
So you're changing your motion to include House Bill 199 is presently.
As it's written.
As written, or in its current form.
As of today.
As of today.
Yeah.
Or as it exited the House and
You want
The way
to
it's
got the
written.
wording right?
Sure, I've got it. Is that in addition to the other changes that I read earlier?
Okay, any question about the motion and the second? Any other comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous? Okay. Appointment of the North Delta Human Services Authority, Robert Flowers II. A motion.
Mr. President, I make the motion that we appoint Mr. Robert Flowers II to the Northeast Delta Human Services Authority.
A second. Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Motion to table the library appointment.
Make that motion.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Accept bids on 2 railroad tank cars and two transfer trailers.
Yes. This is on item 10, page 23 of your packet. We had 2 bids on the tank cars. The low bid was from the railroad yard for $31,800 for the 2 tank cars.
I have a motion to accept this low bid of railroad yard incorporated. Motion second. We accept the low bid. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Trailer.
Yep. These are the 2 live floor transfer trailers. One bid, trail code of I-49. Bid price for the 2 was $152,738.
Have a motion, we accept the.
So moved.
Who made the motion? Oh, Ms. Rostrella. Second.
Second.
White.
Ms. White. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Authorize advertising for asphalt.
This is liquid asphalt used for our capital improvement program for this year. Just need to advertise for bids.
I make the motion that we advertise for bids for the asphalt.
Second. Second.
Ms. Hunter, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Consider authorize approval of the new Lincoln Parish Police Spirit logo design.
Okay, this is in pages, this is item 12 in your packet, pages 25, 26, 27. And I'm going to have Devin come up to the microphone. She and Kevin have kind of led out in this effort. I believe that also Kevin has provided you a packet at your desk of what are not necessarily our current logos, because we don't have a current logo. These are our current vehicle identifiers. Devin, I'll let you walk them kind of through the process up to this point, if you don't mind.
So if you look at your packet, you have options 1, 2, and 3. Option 1 is basically just an update of what we currently have, which are vehicle identifiers. It's not really a logo. That's simply because they do have the department on them, whereas a logo would not specify a department. We also use the state seal on our current ones, and the new ones do not.
Yes, sir, Mr.
In
Russell.
addition to the logo, will we have a number, identification number on, okay, thank you.
That's
On the
part of
vehicle.
that's part of the vehicle policy that we're trying to pass, is to let the number be on each vehicle.
Good, thank you.
So my question is, this logo on the stationery, what's on the stationery?
The state seal.
The what?
State seal.
State seal, the seal that we currently use will continue to be on our official stationery.
So this is just for vehicles.
Vehicles and promotional materials and anything else that you would typically put a logo on.
T-shirts, business cards, anything of that nature.
What now?
T-shirts, business cards,
Dumpsters.
like the shirt that Kevin has on right now.
Equipment.
Equipment,
Yes.
dumpsters, any kind of signage.
Okay, so, the options are,
That was option 1, we can move to option 2 if no other questions about option 1.
So you're saying that you won't know the different departments on the, just take them off?
Correct. The plan is to have only these logos.
the proposal.
That's the proposal, is that we would only use these logos on the side of vehicles, and those would be the only thing on the side of vehicles except the number as part of the vehicle thing that we just passed. These would just be on the doors. They're supposed to be on the front doors on either side, and the numbers will be in the back.
In the back, so you gotta see it from the back, the number won't be on the side.
Correct. And then if I want to change that, we can change that too. But right now, the numbers are only located on the back window, or if it's not, doesn't have a back window that's visible, it's going to be in a highly visible location on the back of the vehicle.
Which leads to, which would cost the parish less, number 1, right?
I think they're all going to be equal cost.
I will say this, I was stunned at how inexpensive decals are. They're very, very expensive.
Well, she's talking about colors or not.
Yeah, it's negligible.
Yeah, correct. You'll see these, we gave it to you, this kind of like tan and green, but they can also be black and white.
We can also go with our original conditions.
I like number 1. It's simple, very simple,
Easy to read.
easy to read.
No, you have to consider too, these will have 2-inch letters on them.
Correct.
Yeah, what now?
So these will be blown up, each
They'll
one of
be
these
blown up, so you get
will be
one.
blown up. They will have potentially 2-inch lettering on each one of these. So the option 2 and option 3 will also be larger as well. So they can actually, they'll have 2-inch lettering. It's the typical size that we put on the side of the police vehicle. State law requires these logos like this on the side of a vehicle to have at least 144 square inches, which is like 12 by 12, and that's at least 12 by 12. So we can go a little bit bigger than 12 by 12 and make it really as big as you want. If you want to wrap the whole vehicle, we can do that, but that just costs more. Stickers are cheaper.
So the current ones are what size?
The current ones are right there at the 144 mark.
12. So that's about what you're telling us. It's like
Some of our vehicles have about a 4-inch diameter decal.
Correct. Those are moving to, they're going to be around at least more than 8 inches now. They're going to be around 10 inches.
Okay.
But that's what we're trying to do, is we have a multiple assortment of different things. We're trying to make it clear and standard across all parish vehicles. So no matter what, you're not guessing whether or not that's a parish vehicle or state one, that's why we're kind of trying to move away from the seal, because it looks more state. And we're trying to move something that's more, this is Lincoln Parish.
Well, you just said that those might have 10 in it, they're not gonna have 12, all of them are gonna have the same thing on them?
What do you mean?
Same
I'm
size.
saying if it was a circle, the circle is supposed to be at least 8 inches.
Okay, are we gonna have some circles and some?
No, sir, we're going just to one of
So
these.
all of them will be this?
All these will be one of these 3 options.
Well, we got 4 options. We could leave it like it is.
Correct, we have,
We gotta leave it like it is, or we can.
I'll just remind you though that you authorized and we have spent money on getting these people to make these designs though, so it's with.
there is the 4th option of the manual, it's the same.
On this one, could you put a dot or something to indicate where Lincoln Parish is on the map?
I'm not sure that's not gonna really show up on anything. I mean, we could put a dot, but it's not gonna show up on a business card, it's not gonna show up on a shirt, it's not gonna show up pretty much anywhere. When you start shrinking and blowing up things, little details like that typically do not show up unless it's large.
That's the reason you need the outline.
That's the reason, well, there's an outline on all 3 logos. There's an outline and smack in the middle of 2 and 3 of the parish with some piney hills and pine trees in the middle of it. And this is Piney Hill country, so.
Okay, so, we wanna take a poll, or somebody wanna make a motion? All right, we'll go around the, all right, let's call the roll, you tell me you want option 1, 2, 3, or 4. 4 being like it is.
I'm good with that.
All right.
All right. Ms. Wyatt,
Option 1.
Ms. Hunter,
1.
Mr. Durrett,
1.
Mr. Cranford,
1.
Mr. Hunt,
1.
Mr. Scriber, 1, Mr. Pullen,
1.
Mr. Russell,
1.
Mr. Henderson,
1.
Mr. Melton,
1.
Mr. Mayfield, or Miss Mayfield, correction, sir. 3, Ms. Straw.
3.
So do I have a motion that we adopt number 1?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adopt option 1 as our official logo.
I second the motion.
Was there any discussion by Ms. Strother or Ms. Mayfield? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
Nope, I oppose.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
For whatever it's worth, the staff picked number 2.
Late to tell us.
Yeah.
Okay, discuss and take action necessary for the Four Paws CEA.
Yeah, so this is just a matter of housekeeping. This is the same CEA that we've had with Four Paws for many years. This CEA did not get signed at the beginning of the year when we approved our agreement with them. And so this is just ratifying our agreement that we have with them through the end of the year that we're already paying for. Nothing different than what we've done in the past.
Have a motion to authorize signature of the Four Paws.
I'll make a motion that we
Why? Second?
Second.
Who second?
I did.
James?
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Introduction ordinance of sale of adjudicated properties.
The first one is a property located off of, what is it? Pecan Street in the Barker subdivision. Oh, sorry, no. It's, you're right, it's, sorry. It's in Grambling, it's off of 120 Humphrey Street in Grambling. It is going to be a public sale. This is the introduction. And it's, the minimum bid will be $4,659.45. There is a house located on this property. We went and drove by the house, we looked inside the house, it looked like there might have been some work going on previously. I could not tell if anybody was currently living there or not, but there was a house there.
We have a meter of water?
It had a meter that was working, but it was like very small hours on the meter. It might have been running the air conditioner low temperature or something. So, that's all the information I have.
So what happens if somebody is in the house?
Would probably be a squatter.
Well, it didn't appear to be any furnishings. I mean, there were no window coverings, there were no furnishings. There was some, looked like to be some home renovation materials scattered here and there, but I don't think anyone's living there.
There's an electric meter there, somebody's paying the bill.
I don't disagree.
It's up to y'all to introduce it.
I just asked what the procedure is,
Yeah.
if there is somebody.
We've never done
Not
it
the
when
owner.
someone's living there. Like again, I can try to go by the regular, you knock on the door, but that's as much as I can give you if somebody's actually.
So we can't check with the utility to see if somebody has,
Mr. Jones is here, would you like to say, Mr. Jones? Okay.
Mayor?
I think this is in my district. I'm going to make an effort, as I always do with properties in my district, to see what is going on, but we want to always follow the rule. Whatever the rule is, do it.
The rule is sell it.
It's adjudicated, it's up, so the property owner has a right to pay it, up to the point
Right.
where they follow it.
We want to follow the rule then.
so I have a motion to introduce the ordinance.
Second.
Motion second, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. Okay, the next one.
The second one is on Con Street in the Barker subdivision. It is between 2nd and 3rd Street. This is a lot next door. This actually was introduced back in November. There was extra I's that needed to be dotted and T's that need to be crossed. That's why it's being potentially adopted today. So it is ready for adoption at your pleasure, but it has, everything's gone through the attorney and everything's good. Just with the, estimate upon it.
Make a motion to move forward.
Second.
Motion second, introduce the ordinance. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
It's not introduction, it's adoption.
Adoption, okay. Adoption. Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay, adopt a resolution, creation of the Lincoln Parish Broadband Commission.
You want me to take that?
Yeah.
We recently had a meeting that was led by former State Senator Gerald Long, representing Senator Cassidy's office, encouraging us to form a Lincoln Parish Broadband Commission. They're doing this throughout the state of Louisiana, asking each parish to form a similar commission. And the purpose of the commission is to bring together all interested and relevant parties from a variety of backgrounds in the parish in order to make sure that as these groups seek federal funding for broadband expansion in rural areas, and there's a large amount of money available for broadband expansion, that those parties are all communicating well with one another, that there's not any, for lack of a better word, infighting over funding, and that they're just coordinating with one another and all headed in the same direction. And so we received some recommendations for the types of individuals and the types of organizations that they recommended be represented on this commission. And so we put together this resolution, and you'll see those types of members listed as part of it. So we put this forward as a resolution, and then if you adopt this resolution in the coming weeks, we'll be working with you as jurors to make recommendations as to specific members to serve on this commission.
Yes.
Do we have a representative from the Lincoln Parish Police Jury on this commission? I don't see one. That's the reason I asked.
No.
They don't.
If you would like to make a recommendation that we add an additional member, which we can do that.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution with that one change.
With the addition of the member of the Lincoln Parish Police.
From the Lincoln Parish Police Jury.
That's right. Good
Just
observation.
to keep this board
Yeah.
advised.
Good observation.
Do I have a second to the motion?
Second that.
Okay, motion and second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay. Adopted orders amending section 6-4.13 speed limit for Lincoln Parish Code of Ordinance setting the force 25 mile per hour speed limit on Baxter Road. Mr. Russell makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Milton. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Adopt a resolution authorizing the administrator to enter into a rental agreement for a front end loader compactor.
I make that motion.
I second.
Mr. Henderson and Ms. Hunter, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Adopt a resolution to DOT for a traffic study at Tarbutton Road and Highway 150.
Mr. President, there is in the setting someone who's very interested in this, so I wish you would kind of explain, why we do it this way. In other words, once we submit this resolution to DOTD, it's left up to them. The parish has no further.
Right, this is the intersection of two state roads, so it's actually, police jury is adopting a resolution asking them to look at that situation that is a dangerous situation over the last few years. And so this is a resolution asking them to look at that and see if we can approve that.
I actually asked to look into this, not only because of the constituents in my district that cross there, but I cross it daily going to work, and it is extremely dangerous, and even more so dangerous if you are heading from the north going south, crossing over 150. There's a curve, and then there's a private property where there's trees that are overgrown. You can't see, so it is very, very dangerous. Within 1 month, I think it was January of this year, there were 3 wrecks. Thank God, no fatalities, but it's a dangerous intersection that we need to do something about. I have the state come in and do something about.
And it's been that way quite a while. If you remember, years ago, there has been a death there.
Yes, I remember that.
And there has been some bad accidents since. Did we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, adopt the cell phone tablet use policy.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move forward on this item 20. It's been approved by the personnel committee.
Have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Adopt the purchasing policy.
Mr. President, I move that we would adopt the purchasing policy. Let's record the draft.
Ms. May. Motion.
Second.
Who seconded?
Mr. Strong?
Ms. Strong. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, this Hart. Oh, no, okay, excuse me. I'm trying to get the vehicle policy.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward on this item 22 as well. This has been approved in the personnel committee.
Need a second?
Second.
Second. Ms. Hunter, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, now,
I have
point.
one. Are you going to consider the chewing and dipping in the vehicles when you look at the policy?
The what now?
Are you going to look at the chewing and the dipping?
Yeah, that's something we're gonna look at in the future, yes. It's not,
Not when you do this policy.
well, this policy was already done tonight, so we'll have to add that as another amendment.
And I have to, if I may, I need to look, Mr. Smith, it may say tobacco use, I don't know, I'll go back and look at the policy, but we'll certainly consider that if it's not.
Good point.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Drake.
put the mic up there where we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, man, there it is. Okay. Wow, you really have to get on it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Durrett. Jurors, I place at your seat my treasurer's report. These numbers are through year-to-date through March 31st. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview because there were no necessary amendments to the budget this month, no unplanned variances of 5% or more at the fund total level. With 75% of the fiscal year remaining, the column on the far right of each page shows the budget remaining, and that should generally be close to 75%. With that in mind, I reviewed the funds for any major unexplained deviation from that 75%. The general fund shows a surplus of $808,113. That's on page 2, line 55. That's a general timing difference that we've talked about in previous months due to the nature of receiving the ad valorem tax revenue that we spend down over the course of the year. The road maintenance fund and the road construction fund show a surplus of $1,678,000 and change, and $1,618,000 and change respectively, again due to the timing difference in collecting tax to operate the funds for the year. The road maintenance fund had a couple of unusual expense items related to the winter weather event. That does cause one line to be over budget. Let me point you to which page. Page 3, line 92. About $22,000 of expense that was not budgeted. Again, that was because it was for unforeseen weather events. So at some point, we may need to come back around and amend the budget for that amount. It's not enough to require a budget amendment at this time. The library fund on page 4 shows a deficit of $439,000 and change year to date. The only unusual expense in the library fund, the election expense for the December election, was invoiced to us and paid last month. That was in the amount of $11,336. That amount was not originally budgeted. A proposed amended library budget was presented to the library board last week, and the resulting recommended millage rate of 4.49 mils came out of that discussion. However, the library board does not suggest any budget amendments at this time, and I agree with that lack of suggestion at this time. Gives us a little more time to consider any other necessary budget cuts. But at some point during the fiscal year, the library board will be recommending budget cuts to their operating budget. No action is necessary on the budget for now. The solid waste disposal fund is on the last page. Has a deficit for year to date of $234,000 due to a timing difference in the recording of sales tax revenue. One line's over budget, maintenance of equipment, which is 160. Okay. We had to repair a cat dozer in the amount of $22,000. That was an unexpected expense. But I will continue to watch this fund and all funds to notify the jury of any needed budget amendments throughout the year. I always like to tell you the sales tax collected amount collected in February and dispersed in March was $513,023. You don't have this in your packet. $513,023 compared to the same month in 2020, which was $463,000 roughly. That's an almost 11% increase. And I would like to make just a quick point of inference. It's not intended to be an opinion of any kind because you guys have already adequately discussed the centralized collection. But I did just want to make a point of inference because when I see those inferences, I like to share them with you. This month in March, out of that $513,000 collection, we paid a collection fee of $1,264. that is withheld to operate Denise's office. A 5% fee would have been $25,651. So it's nice to put actual numbers. Now, I don't think House Bill 199 says 5%. I think that's a talking point that's kind of come from the opposition maybe. But because we don't know, I think that's where I'm getting, is that we feel a little bit risky because we know more about the downside than the upside of the centralized collection. So the inference I wanted to make to you is all of the sales taxes assessed by the police jury are dedicated use. 1/3 of the sales tax collections goes to fund the detention center, and 2/3 goes to fund the solid waste disposal, which is page 5 of your report. I like to point out that inference because any decisions that you make regarding sales taxes heavily affect our other partnering agencies with solid waste disposal functions that share in the surplus of that sales tax, like we talked about in months prior. The municipality that takes the most of that sales tax after the surplus is distributed is the city of Greenland. So anything that we decide related to sales tax matters heavily affects the city of Greenland. Just a point of inference, not an opinion. And that's my report.
Thank you.
And that actually is a 1/4 cent for the detention center and a 1/2 cent
That's
for
right.
solid waste.
That's right. That's right.
That's the only sales tax the police should
That's right.
get. Any questions? Any other questions? Yes.
Laura, will the October election, will it come out of the library fund as well? Are we responsible for that?
Yes.
That'd be
It
another-
will, and if, I don't know, I'm sure you all read the entire resolution, right? The election resolution, you read the whole thing? There's a little warning in there, it could cost as much as $48,000. That's how much the election costs in total, and you get to share that. I don't know how they separate it, but you do get to share those costs with anybody else on the ballot. But I don't know who else is on the ballot yet. But the total cost to have an election right now is $48,000.
Oh, so 11,000 look good. We may be
You
looking,
made it look really good, right?
we may be looking at 48,000. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know we don't know what's going to be on there.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a possibility that there will be.
Yeah, exactly. I got you.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
On her report. On page 3, item 92, in some cases, the state refunds us some of those unusually large unexpected expenses that we are required to spend in the case of a storm or an ice storm or whatever. Is there a possibility any of that might be restored to us through the state?
I'm hopeful, and I haven't had that conversation with Kip yet, because it's still kind of fresh since I just saw the actual invoices get paid.
Okay.
But hopefully there's an emergency declaration already in place that would make us
Sure.
eligible for like a FEMA application for that.
Right.
There is.
Okay, thank you.
There is. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay, moving to department.
All right, departmental reports. Carrie?
I wanted to just repeat, Mandy, we have a driver, big trucks that haul our loaded refuse trailers to Farmville. We've been at 2 for many years, even prior to us taking over. The previous contract had 2 drivers, and with the parish growing, it's just been a battle keeping up with 2 drivers, so we recently added a 3rd driver. And it's made a huge difference with the way we can keep trucks in and out of the landfill without bagging everything else, so that's the only difference we made.
So that should benefit all the entities that haul to the landfill, including the towns and all.
As a matter of fact, I had a conversation today with John Freeman from the city of Ruston, and they're very pleased as well because we don't have trucks sitting waiting in line. So.
That's concerning TJ here.
All right. Mr. Doss?
We will be starting up the boat creek next week. We're still out fixing potholes from the snowstorm. We get calls from citizens for driveway repairs and Houston now. And we'll still continue doing that in the next couple of
One question I got, where are we on the cleanup from the ice storm?
Pretty well played, there might be some bits and pieces out there, but all of my
Well, I got a couple of them.
Just let us know.
Quick question. Can I ask Mr. Cost a question?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
How much damage did all that ice on our roads for that long cause, would you say?
I really can't tell much about that, it's just potholes.
I mean, are a significant amount of potholes, new potholes?
Well, potholes in the wintertime, are gonna happen anyway, even if it rains or snows, but, it's mostly about the same as it is every year.
Okay.
Even though we did have snow.
We have sent in a reimbursement to FEMA for around $65,000
For road damage?
for overall
Right,
road
everything and so
cleanup, contractors, et cetera. But we don't know how much of that we're going to get back again. The official meeting is Friday.
Is it possible to quantify that type of damage, would you say? I guess not, because you don't have a baseline, is it right?
So we hope our new work order system will do.
No,
Okay.
Not at this time.
I did want to mention, the bridge that our guys constructed on Gasket Road is complete. It got overlaid yesterday, and we're just waiting for the engineering company to come and load rate that, which we expect them any day now. And then we'll send that to the state, and they'll approve us for opening that road back up. It's a good-looking bridge. I'm proud of our guys. We've got some very skilled individuals. There's not a lot of police juries that have enough skilled individuals that they can build it on bridges anymore. But we've got some great guys, and they did a fabulous job on that. So, yeah, that saves a lot of money to do that ourselves. Mr. Ransom?
I just can update you on the construction in the campground, the sites. We've done 2, got those poured, and hopefully can open them this weekend. We'll need them because we're full. And they're pouring site 15 tomorrow morning, weather permitting. And then they're working on site 22 and hopefully have that poured soon. Archery range, they dropped the equipment off, and I know you're going to talk on that some more, so that's moving forward. And we had 2 running events the last 2 weekends. One last weekend was autism acceptance, 5K. That was the first time event. It was a little small, but they're happy with how it went, and I think they'll come back again. Previous week was a trail run that went real also.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Pierce?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We will begin smoke testing tomorrow, continuing through Thursday in the Water Tank Road area, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th Street, section of Barker, Hickory Street, Pine Street, and Pecan Street. Tomorrow and Thursday.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, while we're on that,
Kevin's got something before we get done, so.
well, I want to go ahead. While we report, you talk about the park. You want to talk about your report on the archery, Mr. Driver?
Whenever you give me the green light.
We're ready. I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay. I hate to give such an exciting report when everybody's tired and ready to go home. And I understand that, but it is what it is. So if you're listening for 2 minutes, and I have some exciting news. We are, let me add first, I am the one giving the report, but Matt has been working with me since we even first started talking about this. He's been out there several times with me. Several of you have been involved. Mr. Bury's been out there with me several times. We had different questions about different things. So the cooperation has been as it should. From administration, it's all been incredibly cooperative, and we will reap benefits off of that. Of course, working with James has been easy and exciting as well. So, like I said, I want to, give those people a lot of credit as well. So here we are. We have secured a title sponsor of $8,000, and Trailblazers has started a new program. Y'all, some of you know a little bit about Trailblazers, some of you have heard of it, some of you never maybe even heard of it, but they started a new program that they're going to invest back in communities with equal once a year to different projects. And I thought this would be a good fit for what they're trying to do, and they unanimously agreed upon that, to invest back in the community because the community has been supporting them because they work all along the I-20 corridor. So Trailblazers are what I would call a title sponsor or a corporate sponsor of an $8,000 gift. Now, where we're at now is talking to other independent sponsors, and we're going to have 2 levels of that they can donate to. We just barely started talking about this. We've already had a lot of good response. Level 1 is a gift of $100 to $400. Level 2 is going to be $500 and above. One of the first people that I talked to about this got a $1,500 commitment right over the phone, just because he thought it was a great thing and all that. So we're going to do pretty good on these individual sponsors from individuals as well as businesses. And Matt, like I said, is working with me on that. Daniel Taylor, many of you know him, is working with me on that as well. So all of that is going well along that line. Then I received a call from Mr. Milton Melton Friday. He said, he was talking to somebody in the Lieutenant Governor's office about the possibility of a grant that this project might fall into. So he gave me the information, he paved the way, I followed with a phone call, and this is a matching grant possibility. I talked to Mr. Brandon Burris, and he is with the Land and Water Conservation Fund. So they followed up like they said they would. They emailed me the information, and what I'll do next is fill out what they call the initial interest grant form. It's very basic at first, and if they look at it and say, hey, we want to take the next step, then we give them more detailed information. It's a matching grant. We can do pretty good on this if it goes through. And what it'll do, it'll help us build a phase 2, maybe secure how we want to do a building, storage building, things like that. But we'll have input in how we exactly want to do that if the monies are available. 2 key dates that we're shooting for. May the 14th is when we kind of want to have talked to and gathered the monies from our other sponsors. Like I said, we're already working on it, but we set a deadline on it. If you don't set a deadline on things, you can just go on and on. So we're going to give ourselves about a month to kind of secure that. After that, no later than, and if it can happen earlier than this, then we'll be excited about it, but no later than September the 1st, we want this thing to be open to the public. That's right before hunt season. People are really getting geared up for it along that time frame. But if things fall into place for us like it possibly could, and we can open it sooner than that, then we will do that. But we got a target date of no later than September the 1st to have this thing up and going. And I think that should be easily met, to tell you the truth about it, because the bulk of the thing, buying target, setting them up, that part will go pretty quick. But we've got some decisions to make on how we want to do these stations, how nice we want to make them, or how, if we're not doing anything to them. But there's some decisions along that line that we're going to make as well. So that's a pretty detailed report on what's going on and kind of where we're at on everything. If you got a question, I'll see if somebody around here can answer.
Any questions? Any comments?
Thank y'all for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And while we're on the park, Ms. Charlie, you want to go ahead and give your
Sure. Glenn, my report is so much more exciting than the That's the first thing. As we all know, funding sources for the park has changed drastically. So to be creative and to come up ways to raise money for the park, I approached Glenn Scriber, James Ransour, Doug Costello, Rick Godley, and a lady named Brenda McCullough. And I said, hey, I have this idea for a park festival to raise funding for the park. Any money that we raise will go strictly to the park for improvements and upgrades. So this year, May 15th, drum roll, Glenn, thank you. May 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., we will have the first annual Lincoln Parish Park Festival. That will include, and I'll leave something out, please step in. We will have a car show that will have antique cars, classic cars, muscle cars, as well as trikes and bikes. We will have 20 vintage Airstreams on display over on the Campground site. So if you're an Airstream enthusiast, you need to see that. Food trucks will be there as well, arts and crafts or a maker's fair. We want people that have been sheltered in place all this time at home, making things to come out, showcase it, and sell it. We will have a kid zone, which I'm excited about the kid zone because I plan to take part of it. The National Guard is bringing in an 80 by 40 foot inflatable obstacle course, as well as a gaming trailer that has Xboxes on it. Our local ward marshal called up and said, hey, we want to bring a slide out, an inflatable slide for the kids. The Louisiana Lunatics and High Energy Dance Group, they will perform on stage, but also do face painting for the kids. So it's a lot over there for the kids that we'll be doing. The car show is being sponsored by Northern Louisiana Medical Center. They're our title sponsor for the car show. Doug Costello, thank you. He secured the regional cornhole tournament. I've learned a lot about that, and that is supposed to bring in anywhere from 300 or 400 people, correct? Just for that alone. And thank you, Doug. He has the CBP sponsoring that for us. Entertainment stage. What's a festival without an entertainment stage? We have a lot of things, a lot of people that'll be on the entertainment stage, including some local celebrities. Seth Hightower, Monty Russell. But then I have a young man who is a student at Louisiana Tech that was on American Idol last season. And he called me up and he wants to perform. So we're going to have a big day at the park. And the neat thing about it, you could bring your entire family for only $10 a car. Not per person, but per car. So we are excited about this, and all money raised will go strictly to the park. Glenn Scriber has been a champion on getting us silent auction items because that will be going on as well. So if there's something else in there, and you know, when we have these meetings, what does this mean, Glenn?
When you're trying to get as much as you can out of everybody.
That's right. Well, James is back there doing it too. When that comes up, they know. So we're trying to make money for the park. So bring your families, bring your lawn chairs, come out, enjoy the day. And because I am on sales and use tax, every vendor, every person selling that, I'm going to present them with a nice packet from Denise so they can pay their parish taxes while they're here. We're trying to make sure that it's taken care of. James Ransour, Glenn, Doug, the rest of the guys and girls, I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to put this little idea into play. And I'm excited about it, and I hope you guys will come out, and I have some flyers if you're interested. Even if you want to put your antique car or sell something there, we will work with you to try to get your money into the parks key. Thank y'all.
You want to tell us again the date and the time?
May 15th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The park opens at 8, but that would be to allow vendors and car show people to get in and to set up. Ruston High School football team, they volunteered with their coach ball. They're going to come out and assist with parking. They're going to rotate hours to help us with the parking. Kip has left already. Kip will be out there with the side-by-side, helping to transport if you need to get back to your vehicle and you parked a four-way. He will be out there. Ruston Ambulance will be on site in case of, as well as our Parish fire truck will be out there in case of. So we have everything. We're trying to think of everything that we can to help our citizens to come out, have a good time that's been sheltered in place for so long. Get you out into the park, let you see some beautiful things, let you want to come back to the park.
Spend some money.
Definitely spend some money. And not do this. When you walk through the park, don't worry about doing that. Just open your hand. And thank you all so very much.
Any questions or comments?
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yes, sir, Mr. Russell.
How many of you have already had your COVID shots? Okay. Got a call this week. I don't know if you all got a call from Eric, and I have his name written down, but I didn't bring it.
Bogus.
What's his name?
Eric Bogus.
Okay. He's representing the governor's office, working through them. They hired him to do this, to come to the parish and get all of you to be involved in encouraging your constituents to take the COVID shot. The governor's office is pushing for everyone to take the COVID shot. That protects not just you, but your family and your friends and those you come in contact with. So they're going to be calling you, asking you to be involved.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, Mr. Administrator.
I just want to say, I'm going to say thank you so much to Mr. Schreiber and Ms. Straughter for their servant leadership on both of these initiatives. They both worked tremendously hard on these. And I'm surprised Ms. Straughter went around, she didn't have her sign-up sheet available for you to sign up to work.
Oh, don't worry. I already got some volunteers.
I figured it was coming. Okay.
Devin, Jerry Lynn, I'm working on some other people, so don't run away at the end of this. It's very good to see you. Talk to you in a minute.
I'll get my report quickly so we can get out of here. Household Hazardous Material Collection Day, sponsored by our Solid Waste Department, Saturday, coming up this Saturday, April 17th from 8 until noon. And this time we're going to be doing it at our complex parking lot there on Alabama and Homer Streets. So you can bring all sorts of your stuff that you don't want to throw at the landfill, paints, used oil, household cleaners, pesticides, computer printers, batteries, ammunition, medicines, furniture, sharps, and we'll have the proper people there to dispose of things appropriately. Kevin has flyers that you can take with you to distribute, and we appreciate your participation in that. Last item is update on the Qriket wireless location. That space is now vacant. We've had several inquiries about it, but no solid leads yet. I'm going to give it another couple of weeks, and then we will increase our efforts. I'm trying to get someone in there with some other types of outreach. I do want to mention along that same lines that I'm currently negotiating with Dollar General on their lease, and I believe we're going to be able to increase our lease rate on that. And we should actualize about $3,000 more a year out of that lease agreement after we finish our negotiations. So.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, the last item on the agenda is current litigation, and I need a motion to go to executive session to discuss the current litigation.
So
Second.
Move second. I think we got it.
We need a roll call vote on this. Wyatt?
Yes.
Hunter?
yes.
Durrett?
Yes.
Cranford? Hunt?
Yes.
Schreiber?
Yes.
Pullen?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Melton?
Yes.
Mayfield?
Yes.
Straughter?
Yes.
Okay, we'll excuse everybody. Okay, you ready? Okay, Ms. Shaw.
I make a motion to, come out of executive session.
Come out of the executive, go back in regular session, seconded by Ms.
All right. We have a roll call come out. All right, Wyatt.
Yes.
Hunter.
Yes.
Durrett.
Yes.
Cranford. Hunt.
Yes.
Scriber. Yes. Fuller.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Henderson.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Mayfield.
Yes.
Strawder.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll entertain a motion
I
to employ, or you want to go ahead and make?
make the motion that, the administrator reach out and employ Mr. George Young to represent us in the legal matter.
Okay. Have a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous? Meeting adjourned.